Hey, welcome back to another episode of Flavor and Fiction, the segment where I read a book from my 2025 reading challenge, I give you a short review, and I make a recipe related to the book, so you get your flavor and your fiction. This time the category was a classic you've never read before, and I chose Uncle Tom's Children by Richard Wright. And to be fair, I had read one or two of the stories a long time ago, but I hadn't read all of them. And it's one of the whopping two books that I was able to read Black History Month. I had so many plans, but whatever. um, so there was also there wasn't a ton of food mentioned in the book, but in several of the stories they mentioned cornbread, and I decided to make cornbread cookies. They're simple, they look good. I've never had them. Perfect. So I'm going to show you how I made them while I give my review, and then I'm going to give them a little taste test on camera so you can see. Here we go. So Uncle Tom's Children is a collection of novellas. It's the first book by Richard Wright, who you probably know as the author of Native Son and Black Boy. There are 6 stories in this book altogether, and they each depict an aspect of the lives of Black people in the post-slavery era, usually resisting racism and oppression. So I'm not going to go into each story because that's a little too much, but I am going to give you just a little taste of one of the stories that sat with me the most. So in the story Fire and Cloud, there is a preacher trying to save his people from starvation. The town, they're going through a depression. Everyone is hungry, poor white people and all Black people. And there's a lot going on. They've been denied food aid. And so there are communists who are trying to talk the pastor into talking his community into marching. And then you have the sheriff who is trying to talk the pastor into talking his people into, pacifying them, into just telling them, oh, aid is coming, just back down, please don't march, don't do anything, just believe that help is coming. And so before he can decide what the best thing to do for his people is, he is kidnapped by the sheriff, who doesn't think that he's going to get his way, and other law enforcement. They take him out to the woods and they beat him within an inch of his life. While making him recite the Lord's Prayer. So they think that this is going to scare him into telling his people, like, don't march. This is what happened to me. It's going to happen to you. Don't march. And I'm not about spoilers, but I'm going to tell you, just because it's only one of the stories, so it's still not going to ruin the book for you. It turns out the beating has the opposite effect. It only makes him feel more connected to his people's suffering, especially when he sees that other church members were also kidnapped and beat that night. He decides he's going to lead his people, and seeing the poor people, Black and white, together just strengthens his faith. That's just one example of the real life situations that Wright shows in all of his stories. Each of these stories shows a type of violence toward Black people that was common for that time, and it features a character who's put in a situation where they have a decision to make, either to lay down and take it or to fight back. And different decisions are made in different situations. So I'm going to leave the other 5 stories for you to discover on your own. That was just a little taste. But if you know Richard Wright, you won't be disappointed. I'm a huge fan of his other work, but I almost like this better because these stories are easier to digest as novellas. So I definitely recommend this book. So now that you have my review and recommendation, here it is. It has finished cooling, and we are going to give it a little taste. To be honest, these are just okay, and I'll tell you why. They have that cornbready texture, and I don't love it in a cookie for some reason. I don't know. I like cornbread, but I don't like the little grainy cornbready texture in the cookie. And I like a softer cookies. And it said to cook these for 10 to 12 minutes. I did closer to 12. Next time I'll do closer to 10 if I do these again. But they're not bad. And I can see how a lot of people will like these. So I'm going to take them into work, see how my coworkers like them. So the link to this recipe and to the book can be found in the description box below in my YouTube video. So head on over to my channel and check out the full video there if you want to. And thank you for joining me for another episode of Flavor and Fiction. Happy reading and happy eating.